Hey everyone, welcome back to 996. How I told you all to cherish that week of good hockey where the Coyotes were winning. They were competitive. It was exciting, entertaining. Barrett Hayden was scoring. Got to mute the TV. But now it's been about 4 games, since that Dallas game at home was the last game where the Cowboys were competitive, toe to toe with their competitor or opponent, playing good hockey, doing the good things. But it's been 4 straight games of turmoil. They managed to win that one against Winnipeg, as I talked about extensively in my previous video. But last Saturday, or just a few days ago, at home to Vegas, and they get trounced 7-1. One of the another embarrassing loss for the Coyotes, one we haven't seen in a really long time since the beginning of the season. And for a home game, you would want the Coyotes to put in a good effort. It's just unacceptable to have a Saturday night home game loss like that. The previous Saturday from that was that 3-2 loss to Dallas. That's an acceptable Saturday night home game. The weekends are where the Coyotes get most of their fans in the building. You got to put your best effort out. And, I understand it's Vegas, but you got to make it a competitive game. I'm also glad to see that there's no Ryan Reeves on Vegas. So there's no Coyotes players for him to injure now that he's on the Rangers, I believe. So, last night they faced Dallas again, this time in Texas. And it was a good game until, when that goal got disallowed by Dallas, Dallas just pushed hard. It's like they had a vengeance for that disallowed goal where Peterson kicked it in, and they turned it on. The last 10 minutes of the third period was all Dallas and just overwhelmed the Coyotes and just broke the game apart and pulled away too much where it looked like a lopsided loss. But for most of the game, the Coyotes were pretty competitive. They just stopped playing about 10 minutes left in the third period. This Coyotes team, as I mentioned before, it needs way more talent. It's literally just Keller, Gossespierre, I would say Chikrin. Boyd is having a good stretch of games here, and Kessel. But, so you got those guys. The second line, Hayden, needs so much help. He hasn't scored since the 2 goals against St. Louis 3 weeks ago. Lawson Krause has no points in 7 games. They put Krause and Fisher on Barrett's line, which I always been saying they are Krause and Fisher are like the same. They're very similar players. Krause is just a better Fisher with more offensive upside and a better shot. And so Fisher doesn't deserve to be on the second line. It's like that Yaskin. When Yaskin was repeatedly put on the second line with Larson and Hayden, Yaskin was just dead weight. And I feel Fisher is dead weight. He should be a third line or fourth line guy. And then you have so many Fisher type players in this lineup like Roussel, O'Brien, Ladd. You also have Erickson, who played in his 1,000th game in Dallas, where it all began. They mentioned that so many times in the broadcast. Hopefully now they could start scratching Erickson. Maybe they didn't scratch Erickson because they wanted to have the special moment for the veteran. So they couldn't scratch him, or else he wouldn't have his 1,000th game in Dallas. So maybe now, after that's said and done, they could start shifting around the line. They need to Zingle in the top 6. I don't know why he's centering whoever he's centering. Was O'Brien and Ladd? And then you have Galchenyuk down in the bottom 6 too. It's like I liked it when it was Hayden, Krause, and Galchenyuk. Even though they didn't score a couple games, they were getting chances. Galchenyuk had like 2 points in 4 games when that line was together. They need Galchenyuk and Dzingel in the top 6. Those are speedy guys who could put the puck in the net when given time and space. Sure, they're not great, complete hockey players, but you got to give them that opportunity to do so because they're not doing it on the bottom 6 with those anchors on their wings. So we need to beef up the top 6. Schmaltz is practicing. I'm sure once he comes in, it slots everyone better. You could have like Schmaltz, Hayden, and Krause. That would be good since the Keller, Boyd, and Kessel line is producing consistently, and they need to keep doing that. They're the only line that shows any ounce of skill and talent other than Goss is spare. If those other 3 lines of forwards aren't producing, we need the defensemen to be producing. So it was nice to see Goss is spare get another goal. Chikrin needs to step it up. It would be nice if Capobianco could get some, lethal shots on net as that third pairing defenseman just to give us more offense if the forwards aren't doing it. In terms of goaltending, it's been a carousel of back and forth between Veggie and Wedgie. Neither of them are taking the net by the horns. No one wants to be the guy. One has a good performance like Vemelka against Winnipeg, and then gets put in against Vegas and gets absolutely embarrassed. And then Wedgwood's had a rough go of it lately with his Dallas game and the Minnesota game last week. So the goaltending's a bit shaky again. We'll see what happens. Maybe another waiver pickup. Dallas has like three goalies that are healthy now, so maybe the Coyotes pick up one of them. Maybe Bishop. Not sure what his cap hit is, but Bishop's the odd man out in Dallas because you got Odinger and Holtby playing well. So maybe they got to shore up the goaltending situation again. Maybe go with three goaltenders. You don't. That doesn't mean just because you acquire another goalie, you got to send one down on waivers. But hold on to three goalies since the forwards you have like all these same type of players, these grinding out players all throughout your lineup in the bottom nine. It's just filled with them. I mentioned all their names before. So yeah, I mean it's a rough go of it. I sense the excitement around the Coyotes is a bit dull right now. It was going well a couple of weeks ago when they had that good streak of points and winning. The Discord during the game threads aren't really active as much. So they got to get our hopes back, get that entertainment hockey back, get some wins. They're facing a lot of good teams next. The Rangers Friday, and then Philadelphia on Saturday. Well, Philadelphia's not doing too well, so maybe they could eke out a good Saturday night win against the Flyers, who are struggling a bit too. There's other teams in the NHL getting a lot of attraction and attention because they're firing coaches, they're firing management. But this team isn't going to fire their coach. This is the plan. There's going to be weeks where it's dull and unexciting, and you kind of just want to forget that the Coyotes even exist. So I understand that. Try to do more whiteboard videos. I have a couple lined up in December, January, and during the Olympic break. So those videos are more, entertaining. We get to look back at some trades, some draft picks. You maybe spur the conversation around the Coyotes a bit more. The prospects, I'll have prospect videos. Just to mention, Dylan Gunther got a hat trick earlier in the week. Matthias Michelli was American Hockey League MVP for the month of November. So a lot of good things happening with our prospects. I know, we've been saying that a lot over the years. Look at this prospect. Look how good they're doing in their respective leagues, and it doesn't really come to fruition in the NHL. But hopefully this time it's different, and it's starting to look like a bit different. These players are like scoring some elite NHL shooting goals. They're not like dangling and just dangling around bad opposition like Keller was in his highlights. He was always dangling and looking like Patrick Kane, but his competition wasn't really great. Whereas you look at Michelli and Gunther, how they score, they're just snipe shows, one timers, accurate, powerful shots. So that's what the Coyotes desperately need and haven't had in a really long time. So hopefully these prospects can make the jump and translate that shot into the big leagues, because that's what the Coyotes are missing right now is just a player with a great shot who wants to shoot and doesn't always look for the pass and takes control of the game and just loves to score. I think that's fundamentally what is missing from the Coyotes right now, among other things. So that's it for me. It's a bit dire, but we'll get through it. If you like what you see, spread the word. And as always, thank you for your support.